Welcome to the Horror Junkies podcast, the podcast where we discuss all things horror. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Pat.
And today we have two special guests on the show. We have Jon, who is the creative marketing and advertising director of Scream-A-Geddon, and we have Mark, who is also the creative director of the haunt design and creation for Scream-A-Geddon. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks.
Thank
for
you.
having us.
It's weird.
That was a great introduction, by
Thank
the way.
you.
I
worked
got
hard on
extra titles in there. That was awesome.
Yeah, he knows my title better than I do.
That is what Jennifer sent me. So that's why I
She's
wrote
a
down.
smart lady. So.
She is. That's why we employed her. She keeps us in line.
Yes. And what we're doing today, guys, for everyone out there that's listening, we're actually interviewing two people from Scream-A-Geddon, which is a local Central Florida haunt attraction.
Yeah.
Guess that's a good way to categorize it.
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle ground. We're not a home haunt. We're not like Universal. So
Yeah.
we're like everybody calls it Scream Park.
Yeah, Scream Park.
Scream Park.
That's a good.
Yeah, that's
a park
Independent
that you
haunted
scream.
attraction.
There we go.
There
That's
it is.
probably what the government calls it.
For those of you out there who don't know what Scream-A-Geddon is, it's like I said, Florida Premier's horror park featuring several haunted house attractions, located in Tampa Bay, Florida, west of Orlando, with 5 horrific haunts for you to test your scream queen skills. You gotta have them. No one can be Jamie Lee Curtis.
You got to test out those pipes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you really do. And it's opening up September 22nd.
This Friday, yep.
This Friday.
Yeah.
So go out there and check it out.
Definitely do.
Friday and Saturday.
I'm
opening
going
weekend.
to.
I think we're all going to be there.
I go home. I get to go home.
I go on Friday,
Yeah,
actually.
I go home.
Well, we'll come and check it out. And
Awesome.
Not my home.
We'll do a
Check
review.
it out.
Yeah, we won't come to your house.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mike, what are you doing here? This
All right.
is scary.
This is my house now.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you guys want to do? You guys want to go into a Q&A, or do you guys want to talk some movies?
I think I will go through. I think we should go through these questions.
Questions
Because
there?
like I said, we're going to go down these rabbit holes as deep as they go.
That's fine. That's fine.
And also, this time of year, I don't have much time to see movies, so all the horror movies you might want to talk about, haven't seen. So
Yeah.
I'll
True.
see them in November. We
Yeah.
can talk then.
Awesome. I guess the first one is what got you guys into like the world of horror? Like what was your first horror movie that you watched? Or comic or novel, whatever medium you've read or watched.
So the first horror movie I remember watching, I know it wasn't really a horror movie, but to a 7-year-old it was terrifying, was Arachnophobia.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good. I mean, I watched a preview for it the other day, and I was like, "This isn't a horror movie. This shouldn't have scared me." But I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I remember it was kind of a fun, exciting feeling afterwards. With first roller coaster, you're terrified to get off. You're like, "Yeah, let's do that 100 more times." So I, flash forward about 8 more years. I was dating this girl. Her grandpa had a big house, had all this land. He's like, "Oh, I used to do these Halloween parties, but I want to build a small haunted house. You want to do that?" And I was like, "Sure, I guess. I don't know what to do, right?" So I went out and built this thing, and it was for free, and it was open to the neighborhood, and 2,400 people showed up.
Oh wow,
The 2 hours or 3 hours we were open.
that's
Jeez.
incredible.
Yeah, so I was like, "Oh, that was exciting."
Yeah.
And then I worked at a bank because that's the natural segue from that. I did
Yeah,
a bunch
for
of
real.
other jobs, and I, talked to my parents like, "I would love to design and build haunted houses," and they're like, "Yeah, there's no
That's not a
market
job.
for that." Yeah,
Yeah.
That
that's
doesn't
called being
exist.
homeless. So went on, did several of the jobs, and then I ended up getting into the film industry where I did do some designing, mainly camera work. But I always you hang on around on set and you talk to the set designers
Yeah.
and builders and stuff like that. So I got a bunch of ideas. And then I got a call from a friend, said, "Hey, you want to come out and direct a bunch of actors at a haunted house?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." Got out there, did that for a year, had a successful season, came out again for the second season, and at that point, the owner was like, "Hey, I'm expanding my operations, and we need a full-time designer. Do you know how to design?" And I dabbled in 3D SketchUp, pencil drawings, stuff like that. And I had an AV background, so I do the technical side of stuff too. So he's like,
Awesome.
"We're going to bring you on board." I said, "Wait, so I'm going to get my career of building haunted houses, and I get to rub that in my parents' face? How much do I owe you, sir?"
Yeah, for real.
That's actually his
That's so
Christmas
awesome.
card every year. He sends it home, and he's like, "Hey, look what I do."
Remember when you tried to kill my dreams? Sucker.
Enjoy your nursing home.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny. I never really dove into horror like a lot of people go, "Oh, you must be really into scary movies or horror
Yeah.
movies," and I go, "Actually, I'm not." What I do pay attention to is aesthetics.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, really where a lot of my drive comes from, and that's what the owner's drives come from too. Is, anybody can build a scare, but can you actually make it real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here today talking on the podcast.
Yeah. And for you?
Like going to his comment about arachnophobia, I do remember seeing that when I was a kid also, and I remember watching it, and my brother will, if he ever hears this, will probably be very upset at me because like after he watched it, he wouldn't go into his bedroom until my dad stripped all the blankets off his bed 3 times, and he still wouldn't get into bed. And I don't know why he thought it was safer to sleep on the floor, but he thought that was the better spot. Like spiders weren't going to get you there, but if you're under covers, that's where it's going to get you.
I'm no joke. I never made this connection before. So that was the first like scary movie that I saw. The house that I built my first haunted house at was the house they filmed Arachnophobia at.
Really?
I'm not kidding. Hence the goosebumps.
That's actually pretty
cool. I just
cool.
literally made that connection because I think I'm retarded.
Hi, Mark. Welcome to your own life.
Oh, hi.
We've brought you here for a very
What is
special
this?
reason.
Yeah, for real. That's awesome though. That's cool. You guys have like weird or like your background from like designing your first
it's
haunt.
Cool you're weird.
Yeah, it's cool to be weird.
Yeah.
That's our whole thing is just stay weird. You know,
Stay weird. Exactly.
Yeah, I think the first like horror movie though that I remember really watching though was the Friday the 13th, like Jason movies, like the slasher movies. I remember every Halloween
era
season.
of slasher.
Yeah, just every Halloween, the whole month of October, my friends and I just watched every one of those slasher movies, just one after another. And like Mark said, it's like I'm not really that into horror movies that big. It's like I really like I like the aesthetics and like the art behind it all. And I really get into like movie posters. Like if it's a really killer movie poster, I love those.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We're always into movie posters. If the movie poster is decent, like I'm gonna be pulled into the movie because like the trailers today. This thing we talked about on the show is they always show way too much when it comes to movies.
Yeah,
there's always like they show everything in
you
a
saw
trailer.
the whole thing. Just
Versus when you you're just walking by the movie theater and you see a poster for a movie and it's eye catching. You're like, oh wow, what is this? I want to look more into it.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate poster art as well. Like,
that's also how I pick wine. I don't know anything about wine, but if the label's cool, I'm like, I like that one.
Yeah,
I just picked the bottle that has wine in it.
That
one's not empty.
Pick it up.
I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, and like growing up, going to like Blockbuster and stuff like that was like always the covers that got me.
Yeah,
and especially
of
with horror movies.
I mean, even from video games too. You're like, that's cool. I don't know what that is, but I want to play it.
I played a lot of weird video games because of the ties that bind or something like that. It was an old video game that was just awful. Just like, but the cover looked good.
Yeah,
it was just an awful game.
Yeah, the graphics is actually how I got into this industry, though, is because I would work with Photoshop and figure out the new tips and tricks on how to make like just a normal person's face look like a zombie or like a vampire or something like that, or really just kind of distress and destroy a photo and make it look just like gruesome and very horror-esque. And I was doing freelance work for the owner of these companies when he just had his paintball facility, and then I helped him roll out a lot of his new graphics when he started Indie Screen Park up in Indiana. So I was doing that freelance with him for a little while, and then when he wanted to expand and open a few more parks, he, like he did with Mark, asked me, do you want to come on full-time and make this your full gig? And it's like, of course, this is like you just created a job around the thing I love doing that doesn't exist already.
Yeah,
so
which is awesome. Like,
it is.
Doing what you love is always like the ultimate goal when it comes to work. So going to work and enjoying what you do is always a plus.
Yeah. Yeah, we have John is fully aware, but we have super long days, super late nights, and there's not a point where I'm like, oh, I need to leave. It's just like I'm tired, but this needs to get done.
Exactly,
that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
And with that, what is you guys' favorite horror movie, like all time?
See, okay, so I'm gonna be honest here. Horror movies terrify me.
Right.
Like I can't sleep. I have problems, so I try to avoid them. So if we're looking for effect, like the worst effect that ever has been created on me, weird ass movie, but the fourth kind.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's a good movie.
So I lost my mind. I couldn't sleep for like 9 days. But as a horror movie where you watch it and you're not taking away that fear with you, the first one that ever really I was like, that was a good horror movie was Sixth Sense.
That is also a phenomenal movie.
Yeah, that is.
I don't know if it like fits under horror.
No, it does.
It fits under genre.
Yeah,
it fits under genre.
Yeah, so
M. Night Shyamalan, for sure.
Yeah. He has some good ones. There's always like that part in Signs where they see that alien for the first time. And I imagine seeing that alien like out in the distance sometimes. And like, what would I do? I'd probably just die of a heart attack.
Yep.
Like, I'm not into like gore or anything like that.
Yeah,
that doesn't.
that's my factor. I love gore. My wife actually, her and her sister watched Signs when they were kids, and they still leave little bits of water in their cups at night because
just in case
just in
how it
case
actually works.
Yeah,
Like,
just in case it works that way.
who knows? Maybe he got it right.
There's just like
You
all
never know.
sorts of artifacts laying around the room just in case.
Tinfoil
What's that
hats
to
in the
kill?
corner
Yeah.
and the bottle of water. And
I'll survive anything because every horror movie I like, I just take that thing that stopped it at the end and put it in my house somewhere.
yes.
Like, I have like 15 artifacts from how Jason was killed just to make sure.
Pacific Rim was hard to replicate, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
no, definitely.
70-story robot.
Yeah.
It's pretty
My
hard.
whole backyard.
Whole backyard, yeah.
Just very narrow, though. That's a telephone pole. Darn, okay. I think for me, I'm not sure if this is a horror movie either, but Event Horizon.
That counts.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that is a
definitely,
good one.
definitely.
I
That
remember
is a
seeing
really
that
good
when I
movie.
was in junior high, and it was like that one. Like, I think it's more of a thriller suspense, but that
It
gave me
just-
chills, and it's like
it
I
is-
still like go back to that one whenever someone's like, "What's your favorite horror movie?" It's like I don't know if it's horror, but
Oh, it
Event
is,
Horizon
and
where
it's
I go.
a fucking mess. It is just like nonstop craziness in that entire movie.
And now that we've gone through your movie here, I want to point out something that's always kind of about. It's so subjective, right? Like I thought Arachnophobia was a horror movie at the age of 7.
right.
You thought Event Horizon was a horror movie at whatever age you saw it at,
15 or
and,
something.
and
Yeah.
then you're into gore, and then we haven't talked to Pat yet. What's your favorite movie,
Oh yeah, Pat, you're here.
Same gore and something that new horror movies are doing, like more deep,
Mhm.
like into the psyche,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
really into right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Such as movies like It Follows and like The
Yeah.
Babadook and stuff like that.
it's super subjective.
yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whoever is like came up with this idea of making movies like, let's not give you all the answers. Let's just leave you at the end with just like a what just happened moment, and then you're left to perceive what you just watched with your own mind, and it's awful.
Yeah.
Well, another thing they're also doing that I think you every so often you have a director that does it really well is kind of leave you hanging, like the story might continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to Mark about your questions that you guys sent us earlier this morning, really. And the It Follows, I was like, I actually haven't seen that, so I looked up the plot line, and the first thing I thought was like, this reminds me of that Denzel Washington movie, The Fallen.
Oh yeah.
Where the spirit gets transferred from through touch,
Yeah.
and what was scary about that is it could literally go anywhere so long as there was some other person it could touch.
Yeah.
But the ending of that leaves you thinking, well, it's going to continue on, like or maybe it won't. But can he transfer through a cat? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what It Follows does. Same with It Comes at Night, and not really so much The Witch. The Witch just kind of leaves you with a huge cliffhanger, but they leave you wondering, like, is this going to be like a continuation? Are we getting another movie? Or are we going to get a book that maybe the director's going to, or the writer who wrote the movie is
We'll
going
see how
to
much
give
money it
us?
makes at the box office.
Exactly,
dollars,
which unfortunately they never make that much.
But I like it when horror movies don't do like the franchise thing where they made the movie and they
That's
leave
it.
it open ended and leave it at that.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
then it's left with your imagination, which is the good thing about like the genre we're in horror is always like when movies don't show the monster or like when it's like left to your imagination. Is what I'm into,
Was
like
that
with
10
horror movies.
Cloverfield? Like,
Yes.
did
He
that?
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a huge Cloverfield.
Yeah, the
Fan.
10 Cloverfield, it totally ends, and you're like, the fuck?
The hell's going on here?
But they give you enough. They give you enough data where you can build. You can kind of go, well, if this happened and this happened and this happened,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
I totally would have gone to the safe haven though. She went the wrong way.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
She should have turned left
Yeah, she should. Yeah, she messed up big time there.
because she wasn't that tough.
She
Like,
killed
no.
one dude and was like,
Yeah.
I can take on the world.
Yeah, with whatever was attacking the world at the
Yeah,
time. It was just
exactly.
The thing
do
the
you
size
think-
of the sky.
Hey, do you think you're prepared for this right now? Like, you just got destroyed when you left the door. Like, come on.
You made it across a yard.
Yeah, like
And now you're going to go like Nebraska and try to do it again.
ridiculous. I guess the next question is for you, Mark. When did you first like? I know you talked about like when you first designed a haunted house, but like when did you know like this is what you wanted to do? Like designing and creating haunts, like that was the thing you wanted to do for the rest of your life.
It was like I said, that first haunt. It wasn't like building it is fun, designing it is fun and stuff like that. But it was really the reaction.
Yeah,
It was seeing the customers come in and, while they're in there, they're terrified. But then they leave and they're like, that was so much fun.
yeah,
And they're excited. And then they go and promote your good work. They're
Yeah.
like, hey, this place is awesome. Come out and do that. So that was kind of my drive. I've always been leaning towards the entertainment side of stuff, doing film and TV for a while. and then I was in a band for a while, so I was always kind of an entertainer. This is a very kind of passive way of entertaining people. Like I'm not directly doing it myself.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I get to do it and then sit down. So
you have to tell other people how to do it and then sit down.
Yeah. So I kind of built this job in my head. What's that?
I never actually see you sit down. Like,
I know. Well, this is the first time.
you're good at it.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Actually, they made me stand up for this podcast, just so you know.
A lot shorter than I thought you were.
I kind of built this kind of dream job, this optimum dream job in my head, and just kind of kept learning parts and pieces of it until one day somebody saw that I had all the parts and pieces together and was like, "Hey, you want a job?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Sure. It's great when that happens.
Yeah.
What kind of band were you in?
I was in a punk band.
So
I was a drummer in a punk band.
He was actually my replacement for my old band.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah.
I was really hoping you would say ska.
It was during the ska era, but we didn't know anybody who played trumpets. So
you should have went to your local high school gym. Yeah. Just found some people playing trumpet and trombone.
Exactly.
Hey, you play trumpet? Come play some ska with us.
Here, I only know taps.
You want to go do something temporarily?
No matter how good you are, this is temporary.
You're eventually going to be an accountant. Let's be honest here.
So like when you're creating your haunts, where do you pull your inspiration from?
Literally everywhere.
Everywhere?
And I know it sounds ridiculous to say that, but the haunts from like a mathematical standpoint is a little tricky. You have to. So I had this idea. Let me back up a little bit. I had this big grand idea about a haunt that I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I started pulling together resources and looked at investors and stuff like that. I'm not going to sell the idea yet because we might still do it. But when I proposed it to my now boss, he went, "Well, what about throughput?" I went, "Oh yeah, that's how you make profit." That's how. Now the math side comes into the creative side.
That's how you have a job next year.
So literally, exactly. So literally, I would, when I started designing stuff for this current company, it was a lot of revisions because it was like, what's the throughput of it, right? And I started to change my designs internally. It's also why Orlando and Hollywood Horror Nights they do that Congo line all the way through. It's because they get blank amount of people that they have 6 hours to push through.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
Exactly.
You can't have that gap.
You can't do the groupings and stuff like that.
You can't just tell the last 3,000, sorry, the others wanted to go through in groups of 6.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
So I pull from past films that I've worked on, watching guys build stuff. So kind of infrastructure-wise, how do they do that? How do they accomplish that result? And what can they do with that result? But horror movies, action movies, dramas, video games, theme parks. We visit a lot. I visited probably close to 40 attractions in the past 3 years around the country. Just different varieties of attractions, and just going, oh, that's cool. I like that scene. What can I do to adapt that? And then I'm a big fan of Diagon Alley down there.
That's what I proposed to my wife.
It is mind-blowingly awesome.
It is
the level of detail. So I look at stuff like that. I don't just look at a movie and go, oh, that's scary or cool looking. I go, how'd they get that result? What were the parts they put in play in a result?
That's awesome.
So I'll put it, and if I can figure it out, that's where my inspiration comes from. I go, I got it. Now I can include that into something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool that you pull from so much and put it into one of your houses and make it work.
Wait till you see the wizards in one of these attractions.
Oh, good God.
We have an Old West town where Harry Potter comes out, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. He's a time traveler bandit. It's weird. It's a whole different storyline.
His sixth gun is a wand. It's very strange. We don't understand the premise, but we and do it this time.
That's awesome.
I always think of my goal is to build the Diagon Alley of attractions. Essentially, in that terms of it's magical and fun.
Exactly.
But that level of detail, that level of quality,
because everything there is just meticulously made and perfect.
Yeah.
It looks like it literally was just pulled from even though the book paints the picture for you, but even when you watch the movie, you're like, holy crap, this is the movie. You're walking through. I
actually don't even like Harry Potter, but I love Diagon Alley. I've been 3 times.
Yeah,
I don't even like the movie or the books. I've been 3 times.
Cut his microphone off.
Yeah,
now.
Get out.
John died. So and then you go there and you see, you wave the wand in front of certain things, and that magic happens, and that experience that you watch people have. I mean, that's where all my inspiration comes from.
That's awesome.
And it's whatever I can do to achieve that result, whatever I have to pull from, if it's a ceiling fan or a window or a movie or a person's idea,
right?
That's what I'm going to use.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who came up with the concept of the marked ones? And is it as intense as it reads?
Well, okay, so again, subjective on that last part, but some other haunts did it around the country. We like the idea. We were the first to bring it to Indiana. I don't know if we're the first for Florida.
I think we're the first to do it the way we're doing it here in Florida.
Yeah, because I know like Petrified Forest does the Glowstick Night. They do it but it's just one night, and all they do is kind of like try to take your glow stick away from you. They don't like, as yours says, hold you back, put you in different.
Gotcha.
They just try to hold you back from.
It's like a grasshopper master thing. It's like, take this from me.
Yeah, exactly.
So the owner came in and was like, "Hey, we want to implement this. Let's do this." And there's a lot of hurdles to that. There's legal things you got to make sure you're doing. You got to train specific actors to do special handling so that the customers are safe while being moved from one area to the other. You got to write a script that matches it. There's a whole catch and release thing, which is you bring the customer in, fine. How do you get them out of the room?
Yeah.
But it can be as intense as you think it is.
Right.
I think it is mainly because a lot of people, we have about 75% of people wear glow necklaces as they go through the attractions with the interaction. And I would say about 50 of that 70, they just recoil. They don't want to be touched. As soon as you go touch them, they either pull the necklace off and throw it, or they just curl up and they're like, "No, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to move." And they just become as solid as a rock as they possibly can.
I'm looking forward to doing it this year.
Yeah, here's a little bit of advice. Play along.
I will.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, I'm going to. When I read it, I was like, this is fun because it's different.
Yeah.
Because, they're going to grab you, put you in this other room, and, talk to you. Like, that's an added experience in my eyes. Like, yeah,
it totally is.
It's going to be weird when someone grabs me in the dark, but I'm just going to go with the flow. And
and we in infected Ground Zero, because it's phase 2 of that. We've kicked it up a notch. We have guys pretending to drill your teeth. We have guys shaving your head. I did air quotes for those for our video listeners.
It's actually shaving. You're really going to come out with a bald head.
We have all sorts of stuff. There's a guy in Florida, in Indiana, where he puts a bag of bugs over your head, fake bugs, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Or are they?
Or are they?
Mm-hmm.
The real bugs would be more intense.
There's probably one or two real ones in there.
Saw off your head. So
okay.
Yeah, we're trying to push the limit. Obviously, that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
There's some haunts out there that are extreme.
Oh yeah,
I've read about someone where you there's one, I don't know where it's at, but you have to actually have a psych eval before you go into their house.
Yeah,
because they literally torture you.
No, it's torture porn. It's you want
real life torture porn.
Yeah, and there's one I think in Florida where you have to go through naked.
Oh really?
What?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's an experience.
Yeah, so it's just like people. Some people definitely push that limit.
Yeah.
We're not. I don't think we're going that way.
I don't think that
that's
we
really
let
hard
you
to
in if
promote.
you're naked. I think if you're naked, we don't let you here.
Sir, when did you put your clothes back on? I'm just trying to be scared.
I didn't bring clothes. Okay.
You'll probably get a whole community of just nudists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they're never attractive.
They're always older than you think too.
Yeah, they're always older and just no.
We know too much information.
They hit 60 and they're like, "Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah, I'm reverting to when I was 3 and I didn't want to wear clothes.
Yes. And then John, we kind of skipped over you, but how do you when it comes to marketing and create advertising, what efforts do you make to promote Scream-A-Geddon, and how do you pick color palettes, the images that you're gonna change in Photoshop and other aesthetic elements? Sorry.
Well, every year what we do is we pull a lot of data, a lot of reporting from Google, Bing, for the 5 people who still use Bing. Yeah, there's still some people out there.
There's someone out there that just won't change.
Yeah, it's like the people with AOL accounts.
They're using Microsoft Internet Explorer still.
But they just don't know how to change. They don't know how to type the word Chrome.
They don't know how to change the browser.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's
like you guys just described my father in a nutshell.
Internet Explorer's down. I'm sorry, what?
Really, what?
But so we pull a lot of data from social media and things like that, and every year we pull through, we just comb through our reporting, 3 or 4 months of just looking at what worked, what didn't, and we take what worked the next year and really kick that up a notch, and we take what didn't work, completely scrap it, and then we bring in new ideas that we thought of throughout the last season, and it's well, what if we did this? And we do a lot of research to figure out what would work for those things. But then the aesthetics is really where it all starts. So we have our regular stuff in place, our social media campaigns, our Google ads, our billboards, things like that, but it all really starts after we've decided what we're going to do as far as how we're going to get it out there is the aesthetics. And a lot of that starts with what Mark does. So Mark builds these attractions, he decides what the themes are, and then we have to start with what we call our hero images. which are the main image that you see on the homepage of the homepage of the websites, or on the main page for each of the attractions, or on all of our billboards and things like that. So Mark and I actually sit down about his attractions and plan out like almost a movie poster style layout of what we would imagine would really sell this attraction well. Visually, without if we didn't have any words on this sign, would you still get the point of what we're going for? And that's really what we go for with the overall images and the attractions, how we're going to promote them, mass market, especially here in Florida, where we are competing with Universal and Busch Gardens, where we have their art department that we're going up against. So we can't just do just a basic iStock photo and this looks like a scary monster and put that up. Like for Infected Ground Zero, that image actually came from a photograph of a paintball ref that we laid on a table and pretended that he was turning into an infected zombie kind of thing. And then the rest is all Photoshop. So it's all built from the ground up to look as terrifying as possible and as high end and as glossy as possible to really kind of visually allow us to compete on the level of the market that we're currently in.
That's interesting because like you never really get to see like that your side. Like we get to experience, you know, what you create and what goes on, and we do get to see what end up you creating for the billboards. But like hearing the background behind like what goes into creating, the billboards that we all see when we drive down the road. Like how do you how you pull from certain things to create an image, like you said, because we were talking earlier, when we were walking around the yard about how you did the pull for the Infected Ground Zero photo shoot. Like you guys just found this paintball ref and you threw him on a gurney, your hands in the picture, and
he's actually really screaming. We didn't tell him we were doing. We just threw him on a gurney and started taking pictures of him. And he was like, "What's going on?" Okay, I'm like,
just accept that
just accept that this is happening.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so I mean, Mark and I comb through movie posters and just video game graphics and the covers and stuff like that, just to really kind of figure out what layout are we looking for, what effect are we going for. Do we want this to be a monster? Do we want this to be a turning zombie? Do we want this to be like a scary clown? What are we looking for here? What is going to sell the theme of this attraction in one image? And that's really where we kind of try to push our limit as far as the graphics go, and that actually drives the aesthetics of everything else. Our whole website, if you go to it, is ScreAm-A-Geddon.com, by the way. Our whole website is completely driven by those 6 main images. And then we do sprinkle in some other graphics here and there, but everything is driven by 6 main images for each of the parks that we open, because those really drive the attractions.
Yeah.
And we try to make it thorough as possible. So, starting from concept of haunt to, is that story being told through the haunt? Is it being told through the characters? Is it being told through the facade, for instance?
Exactly.
Right? That's almost its own thing. And then is his side, which is marketing, the PR, all that, is that story being told through the, whether it be the hero image or the videos that we make or the radio, spots that we do, or any of the press packet stuff that we do. We try to make it from start to finish, especially, if we're pushing on a new attraction, we try to make sure that that's thorough.
Which was cool because when we were hanging outside before we did the show, you were talking about how you're doing, you're creating stories for your haunted houses. So that's something that really, how in Horror Nights, Halloween, they're not really doing. They have an overall theme that they create for their events. But, you were talking about how you're making a story, based on all your houses, so that you do get the pull from certain things, like how Infected Ground Zero is the origin, how you were talking about how it's Ground Zero is how this began. Yeah. So you're getting more of that anthology of your haunts, which is really cool because no one's really doing that. They just create. Halloween Horror Nights creates 4 original houses. They do 4 movie houses, and they have their overall theme that kind of fits in there. Versus you guys do your houses and pull more into the story. So if you're a lore fan, I love reading lore and reaching more into the background of things. That's cool for me. I like that. Yeah,
exactly. If you pay attention close enough, you'll get a whole story.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of people just. They don't have any idea what's going on. They're like, oh, that's a guy screaming at me.
But I mean, that's one of the great things about the parks that we put together is if you don't pay attention to the backstory, and you don't even have to have gone to the website. If you show up with your friends and go through, you can still enjoy the attractions.
It's just have fun. Yeah. It's just a cool little if you do know and you are into it. It's a nice little details to that too. It's
absolutely. And I mean, when we're in concept phase, we always start with the story.
Right.
Now, we don't necessarily do it because that's what we're going to put on the website or something like that. We do it because it drives the attraction.
Right.
Okay, what's the next room? What's the next thing?
What's the next step, and how do you make your park better this next year by continuing the story.
It also
Exactly.
prevents
And-
like a lot of. It really helps with continuity through the entire attraction. Like we went through an attraction. I'm not going to name which one it was. We went through an attraction a week or two ago. Mark and I did, and it was like we were joking that like they must have just had a deck of cards with a theme. On 6 different cards.
Like 6 cards, yeah.
6 cards, and they shuffle them up, threw them on the table. That's the 6 rooms in that order.
God.
Because like every room, regardless of what the attraction was, had a black light glow room. Like every single attraction.
Yeah, or like a backwards bayou type of voodoo thing. And then there's like, you walk in, there's this like 3D glow room.
That
and
made
then you
no
go,
sense.
Then you go into this like haunted campsite. I'm not sure
For
what that
some
was.
reason. Yeah.
And there's a 3D glow room. And then you go into this Temple of Doom looking thing.
But the haunted campsite was inside, and then they had another outside area that was like a park. Like, why did they put the campsite outside? Like,
Yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
But
it wasn't great.
Midway was amazing.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was a fucking awesome experience.
Better bring cash.
Yeah,
Oh,
bring
yeah?
cash, no credit cards.
And, you know, like with Halloween Horror Nights, they like most of their marketing is like with the movie houses they have and stuff like that. Like if you guys were given like any licenses to any movies that you want to do, what houses like what would you do?
Me personally, I would go ape shit to do a Stranger Things.
Oh my god,
attraction.
Yes, that'd be sick.
I have preliminary designs on how we might be able to get around licensing, but yeah, it'd basically be one of those attractions. I know Halloween Horror Nights does this. I think with Michael Myers, they have a haunt with the same character throughout it. Like they have, 10, 12, or 20, whatever actors, but it's all
Michael
the
Myers,
same.
every room
outfit.
you walk in is the exact same costume, so he appears to be everywhere you go.
Which
Which
is
is the
bad.
premise of the movie.
Exactly.
No matter where you turn, Michael
Michael's
Myers is
there.
always there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always get the big movies, but I always
That's
like,
their selling point. Like when you see the posters and stuff like that, it's like we have the Saw house and
Well, yeah, because it has that story built in.
Exactly.
You
it's already
don't need
built
to
in
do
franchise.
anything.
Yeah.
See, personally, like I Stranger Things would be amazing just because of the set. Like when we built Pandemic,
I just want to use the soundtrack.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely
Yes.
when we built Pandemic, we like when we were trying to concept the video trailer that we were going to put out for it. Like we kept coming back to like we laid out the idea of like we just did the intro to Stranger Things. Damn it!
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we have to do something new. So
Yeah.
like we kept coming up with a different idea, and it's like the Stranger Things will be a fun one. But I think since we're trying to really push the interactive, I think a movie like Saw would be an amazing one because of the amount of the level of interactivity you could put into that.
Yeah.
You could put people into some of the actual contraptions
That's
that are
what-
in the movies and really kind of like that one scene. I can't remember if it was like 2 or 3 where they're sending them through the the cremation thing or the fire thing on the conveyor belt.
It's the second movie.
Second movie.
It's the second movie.
Yeah.
I know the gore of that.
Yeah.
Movie. It's like
You're describing a very hard year for me, by the way.
well, they said if we're not getting that franchise, we'll build our own Saw. We'll call it Axe.
There it is.
There was a haunt that did a Saw licensed Saw attraction
In Indiana.
in Indy.
They still have it.
wow.
I don't know if
And,
they're licensed
I mean,
anymore,
it
but
was
they still have it.
I mean, this is not just to rip on them. It wasn't any good. I think mainly they were having an actor issue that night because it was like completely empty rooms with nothing happening, and then you would disappear.
Well, I went 2 years ago to that one, and it was just as bad. They never improved it. So
Oh,
that's why. Yeah, that's
but that year, you're right. That would be very good interactive because people have that story. They go, "Oh, I'm gonna have to saw my leg
I
off."
was kind of hoping that Halloween Horror Nights would branch off into the interactive, but it's just too many people.
I think
and
it's too many people.
Legal.
It's they.
Insurance.
I can't imagine how many people come through their doors, but
a lot.
Yeah.
we get few complaints here and there. A lot of it is unintentional touching, whether somebody's
Of
moving a
course.
hand and they hit somebody's butt or head or something
Yeah.
like that by accident. But and we tackle those problems as quickly and as efficiently as we can. But
You kind of need to.
But yeah, because you need to go to that person and go, sorry, we're going to go take care of it. And you go to the actor and you're like, yeah, dude, I totally was moving my hand around accidentally and I hit their boob.
Because it happens, like especially if you're in a costume and stuff like that. Like,
in a dark room.
And it's dark
What's
room
the
and it's
customer
scary.
doing?
and
Are they flailing their hands around? Are they spinning? And,
sometimes you
guys
just
like-
accidentally bump
yeah.
it. Like it happens in Halloween Horror Nights all the time. But like I know what I'm getting myself into when I go to places like
he's
that.
like they grab my boob all the time.
Yeah.
yeah, always.
Oh, there's Patrick. You gotta give me some of that, boy.
Yeah, and we train our actors to be like, if this happens, this is how you handle it. Da, da, da,
Yeah.
da. And we tell the customers, we're gonna go investigate and figure out what happened.
Right.
So
Now, do you encourage your like actors not to break character when that happens, or kind of like briefly say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that," or something, stuff like that?
we tell them to say sorry in character.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So
Okay.
it may miss its mark sometimes. You know what I mean? Like if a customer's lost, for instance, we don't want them going, "Rrr, rrr." Oh, over there.
Yeah.
You're going the wrong way or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. It does not sound sincere.
No,
It's like,
it doesn't sound sincere, but it like we were kind of stating before, is that it's such a weird profession.
Yeah.
Because you are dealing with a subjective matter when people want an objective result.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to be scared. Cool. What scares you? Well, nothing scares me.
well, then go home.
Okay.
Bye.
I have a theory that some of these people are not scared unless you put a loaded gun to their head.
Yeah.
And then they'll finally be, maybe they'll be scared.
Pull the trigger.
Yeah, pull the trigger. Boom, you're dead. Were you scared?
Oh, sorry. You did.
Yeah, you did.
I mean,
You're
there's
not going to talk.
Could you leave us a review?
there's a thing I noticed, like when it comes to coming to places like this and like going to Halloween Horror Nights, like people like Mike that look like Mike, they won't scare, but they'll scare people like his wife or something.
Yeah.
It's very true. They go for the easy targets.
Yeah.
Yeah. They see me, they're like, oh shit, he's
I think
bearded,
mostly-
he's got tattoos, he's scary looking.
One
Nope.
of the favorite things I like to watch, though, is the interactive rooms when the guy, like you, will wear the necklace because you're like, I want a real experience. I want a terrifying experience. And the girl is like, I don't want to wear it. So they go through, and the guy gets taken, and the girl's just by herself. Which is, in a lot of cases, worse than being taken. Because they take you, if you play along, it's a lot of fun. It can be scary because you're like, you don't know what's going to happen. They'll put you in something that's like claustrophobia kind of thing. Like, they'll mess with you a lot. But, like, then you're just by yourself. Like, so the girls just kind of walk. And they don't always end up back together until they get out of the interaction.
There's always kind
They
of a
break
small
up.
queue line at the end, especially with Blackpool Prison, because you get put in a jail cell and they'll leave you there. They'll just walk away. And the person's like, I'm stuck here. It's like, no, you can open that door at any time. But, they totally...
They don't try it.
And then you go out the exit, and there's like, sometimes I walk out and somebody's standing like, everything okay? And they're like, I'm just waiting for my friend. How long have they been in there? Like 10 minutes? Might have to wait a little bit longer.
It says on the website, you may have to stay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you
That's
work
awesome.
here now.
Yeah.
You now work here, so
Yeah.
congratulations.
It's like Disney World.
But you're in.
It's like when you get lost, you get put into the small world.
Yeah.
I had to write that for the first time. It was awful.
I
It
hate
was
that
so
ride.
bad.
You go in there when it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's hot, you go in there and you deal with the song. But my wife was like, "You've never ridden it?" I'm like, "No." She's like,
I would've
"Oh, we're
lied.
riding it." And I'm like,
I would have lied.
You have to know what they found fun in the 50s.
Yeah.
That thing's not is moving and it's not a human.
Oh, look at that. It's almost like a real boy. This song is so catchy.
Are we in Germany right now?
I think that's a real pinwheel.
The 50s small world. 50s small world way different.
I can imagine.
Not a lot of diversity here.
Hell
Yeah, I just started noticing. I was just like, we went on and I'm like, we were in like, I don't remember what part we were in. I was like, are all the animatronics white? Like, I think we're in Africa. And I like spotted like a group of just 5 of the supposed to be the African Small World characters. I'm like, okay, you're there. I can see you there. Okay,
They made an effort.
Yeah.
They were added in the 80s.
yeah, right. That's horrible, right? So when it comes to like your competitor, I mean, obviously you're in Central Florida, so Halloween Horror Nights is a competitor for you. Hallowscream, I guess they're a competitor. I'm not too fond of Hallowscream, but that's another.
I think I went
topic.
once.
How do you guys like try to compete with them? How do you get people to come to your haunt versus going to the hour-and-a-half long wait to be in the line with 15 people to not get scared?
Well, okay, so I've always said that Halloween Horror Nights is the best midway, right?
Yeah.
Rides, drinks, galore, everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also have those big shows that they put on and stuff.
Which they're taking away, so it's okay.
Are they really?
Bill and Ted's done this year.
I heard about that.
Rocky Horror Picture Show's gone. They demolished Beetlejuice to build a Fast and Furious ride.
Okay, if they're
So-
building the same
I bet
one they
it's fast.
have in Hollywood,
I think so.
I think so.
that's retarded.
Yeah,
It's a dumb,
I could imagine.
dumb
right.
thing. Yeah.
But yeah, no, they Bill and Ted's done. This was their final year for that, and then they took Rocky Horror Picture Show like 3 years ago.
3 or 4 years
3 or
ago.
4 years.
Oh,
So there's really
okay.
no shows anymore. And now, and then the main show is another dance number type of thing,
Which
So it's-
everyone loves.
Yeah,
I was.
We're going to break out soon, I heard.
I-
It's on the email we got.
Yeah, definitely.
so I mean, like, they took like as much as I like, I was getting tired of Jack and his carnival. His shows were cool.
Yeah.
He was killing people on stage, and blood was going everywhere. But now it's just like a group of people dancing. You're just kind of like, what's this?
It's. I think it's a whole shift in cultural and
Yeah.
social dynamic.
Yeah.
Right? It's this instant instantaneous thing. Scare me, go on. Scare me, go on. So nobody wants to sit there and watch a show anymore. But we try to differ it up because what we get to do in our park is be more intimate.
Yeah.
We have our smaller groups that go through the attraction. If we had enough time and people were happy waiting in line, we would send 1 to 2 persons at a time.
Oh,
if we could.
Yeah.
Well, we actually do things like that in November. Like on our final weekend, we do here in Florida, we do the blackout Blackpool, which is we turn all the lights off in the attraction and send you through we send you through by yourself, one person.
one by one, and you just get a glow stick. That's it.
All right,
and
so
it's the same attraction.
Too.
I'm definitely doing that.
Yeah, it's a blast. And we do it in Indiana also in the attraction there. We have a Brickmore Asylum, which is a insane asylum basically, with just the same level of details what you guys saw earlier in Blackpool, but it's called Blackout Brickmore. And again, we send you through one person, one glow stick, no lights, all the actors. So you're just in there by yourself and you can't see anybody, and it is absolutely terrifying. And I walk through that thing all the time. So it's like it's scary to me. Just because you don't know what's going to happen. It's the anticipation. You can't see more than 2 or 3 feet in front of you. So it's that kind of thing where we can do things like that you cannot get at the bigger parks. So the bigger parks are the fun. Is if you want to go hang out in the Midway, like you were saying, the Midways are amazing. Our differentiators are that we can be more intimate. We can touch you. We can bring you into the interactive attractions. We can have you can be more one-on-one with the Midway actors, and you can hang out with your friends and kind of decide to go through as many times as you want.
And you don't see a security guard every 20 feet either. So we try to, because Halloween Horror, I get why they do it. But,
exactly.
I suspends your belief when there's a guy with a hat light on looking at you going, move, keep moving, move. And you're just like,
this is scary.
Should I be mooing or what should I?
I usually play a joke when I see those people, and I'm like,
oh God, you're terrifying.
Oh God, you're part of the house too.
Yeah.
Make them feel ugly.
Makeup is awesome.
So I think that's where we kind of get our leading edge. On top of that, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I don't think our attractions look like crap.
Yeah, they definitely don't look like crap.
Yeah, I think they're very good. So I think they're on par. Nobody's going to outspend Halloween Horror Nights.
Of course, they have the infinite budget.
Monies. And a build team of like 200 people and stuff like that. But when people, especially in Florida, because it's culturally different, right? They're the attraction capital, whatever, of the world. Or I don't know, something
we
like
are
that.
the tourist capital of the world.
Yeah, exactly. So they go and they're used to waiting in lines. They're used to being stuck into large groups. And so when they come here, they're like, whoa, wait a minute, it's different. Indiana, they're pissed if they have to wait for like 2 minutes.
Really?
I was in line. That's because this place is decent, and you're gonna have to wait. Sorry,
or get the freaking fast pass.
Yeah.
Well, even then, they're like, "Well, you guys send general admission people right before me." It's like, well, we have to send them through at some point. Like,
or they come out of the attraction and goes, "I was in a group of 8."
No.
Sorry.
The worst is when they walk too fast, or the people in front of them walk too slow, and the two groups meet.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, they sent us through in a group of 16. No, we didn't. Did you? Well, we caught up with the group, so we sent you through in a group of 8 every 45 seconds, and you guys caught them. You walked too fast.
Yeah,
you gotta walk slow.
And we actually do build in stopgaps for that kind of thing, and the actors are trained. Mark trains them specifically, and he builds sections in the rooms to actually slow people down, and the actors are supposed to
scare forward,
like push, make sure they're not getting stopped and going in the reverse direction.
Don't block path, don't linger.
And
awesome. That dead-eyed stare thing that a lot of haunted attractions like to do, where they just stand in front of you and just stare at you, which really isn't scary. It's like, I can tell you have a cherry cough drop in because you've been yelling all night. Can you please just scoot to the side? We try to avoid that kind of thing. It's like we like he said, scare forward, keep the actors, keep the customers going forward so they continue to get to the next room, so you don't get a bottleneck effect with like 15, 20 people standing together.
Yeah, and in some of our busy nights, we still have that problem regardless. Yeah. I mean, that's how traffic starts, right? One guy hits her brakes, and then you have this whole chain effect.
Yeah.
When we were at that attraction a couple weeks ago, there was that lady in the one attraction we were going through that she wouldn't walk, and so her husband was behind her, kind of just shoving her through, but she would only go a few steps. Then when you get to the corner, she would stop and peek around corners.
I kept running into her.
Yeah.
The actors are touching me. I'm like, no, you keep stopping, and I can't see a damn thing.
But that's cool, because like that's the thing like about like Halloween Horror Nights is it's just a line.
It is. It's a conga line, and again, I get why they do it. You see those general admission lines, and you're like, okay, you're not making it through all attractions tonight. And I'm sure they do that intentionally. Mm-hmm. But
that's why I like stuff like this, like especially with Scream-A-Geddon or like like the mom and pop types of places, because it's like it's a little more like you said, intimate and like personal, especially when you're like you'll take time to scare like a certain group of people.
Yeah.
and you'll stop them for a little bit just to scare them. Whereas in like Halloween Horror Nights or like at Hollow Scream, it's kind of like you're just walking through a line and like you'll see the scare like
20 times before you get there.
Exactly.
Yeah. We try to avoid that. We, in the design process, we look at sight lines, angles and stuff like that. And Halloween Horror Nights is still very good at that.
Yeah.
But when I watched a group one time, they were a bunch of dudes that were like in a frat or something, so they're totally hamming it up.
Yes.
Right? And they're like, oh my God, so scary. And then these like two black suit guys came out like, keep moving, you need to move. And it's like, okay, that ruins the experience, not just for
takes
them,
you out.
But for everyone.
for everybody behind us now.
Yeah.
And we really, really try to avoid that. We want my main goal in both directing actors and building is consistency of show. Mm-hmm. So the wires I buy, the lights I buy, the actors we hire, the script that we write is all designed to make sure that we get the same amount of scares per group every single time. That's our goal. If there was, let's say if there was 27 actors in an attraction, we would want 27 scares every single time without ruining it for the group of 4 to 8 people behind them.
Yeah. And that's good because again, like with Halloween Horror Nights, like people like again me and Mike won't get picked to be scared because Mike's a bigger dude. They probably think he'll punch him.
Yeah, exactly. They typically are harder to scare, and so they come in and they go, I didn't get scared at all. Well, it's like you're 6'4", 350 pounds.
Especially if you're the actor's like my size, like 5'8", like I'm gonna just be like, all right, yeah, you can pass. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, see, and I don't have that mentality. Like, I didn't get scared because it's not just that for me. Like getting scared, it's looking around and being like, oh man, the set is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I really like even when we went to Halloween Horror Nights last weekend. I went through one of the houses and I was like, wow, that was really well done.
Yeah.
Like I like how they did with some of the what was it, Fallen? Yeah, they had like
Fallen,
people jumping down at you with like bungee cord. And I was like, that's
yeah.
really freaking cool. Like I like how they did that. Didn't scare me, but I was just like, that's awesome. I can appreciate the time and work and
I know
creativity.
how easy it is to get injured on that thing, so that would scare me for them.
Yeah, when we travel the country and look at haunted, have you guys familiar with 13th Gate down in Baton Rouge?
No.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Take some time.
All right.
His outdoor attraction is very well thorough and done, but his indoor attraction is mind-blowingly good. It's kind of like the bar that we're like. If people go, well, what do you rank Scream-A-Geddon? I go, we're directly under 13th Gate. Right. But he does, he has all the same factors that we have. He's intimate, does small group sizes, has great scares, has great consistency of show and stuff like that. And if like Halloween Horror Nights, if they took the time to do a haunt like his, I think they would be untouchable.
Yeah.
I mean,
they would.
They used to be that way. Like I started going to Halloween Horror Nights when I was like 10, 13 years old.
Yeah.
And I've been going every year since. And it used to be a little more like scarier, like a little. I mean, I was younger, of course, so it's like
it was like arachnophobia for Mark.
Yeah,
scary until you watch it again. And be like,
I'm sure half of that movie was just the bottom of a popcorn bucket, right?
That's
all it was.
Yeah, it really is. It was like just the spider scenes where it was scary. Like they had the spiders crawling everywhere. That was what's scary.
Yeah.
Well, no, when it's crawling under the covers towards the guy.
Yeah, you're
It's
just
like
like
moving the sheet.
Because I mean, that's what you think about. Like if a spider, that's why my brother wouldn't get in his bed, because that's what he was thinking was going to happen to him. Like, you do realize that there's a spider in here. It's going to go across the floor to get to your bed.
Yeah, exactly.
You just cut a step out for him. Is all that happened.
Now you were mentioning the haunted house a step from above you guys, like in
13th Gate.
Yeah. Do you take anything from them? Like not like
I don't
mostly
take
ideas.
Concepts. Yeah,
not concepts.
I take away is quality.
Yeah.
So Blackpool was a lot of I try to up that quality and cover all the corners. So when I move into an attraction, what I mean by that is when it's time for me to start doing my kind of hands-on work, I try to look at, do you see where the light source is coming from? Do you see the wire? Do you see this? I don't want any of that stuff. And then again, that's what I pulled from Diagon Alley, right? Diagon Alley's not scary.
No,
but you go there, tell me if you can find a light. Not a practical light, but a light that's lighting something. You don't see the can, you don't see the light bulb.
Right.
And that's
but it's
well so immersive.
Yeah.
You don't see that kind of subconscious stuff, but when you do see that subconscious stuff and it pops up to your aware present time type of thinking, you're like, oh, well, this place is crap because look at that wire. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah.
It totally falls apart with one screw being loose. So that's why I appreciate 13th Gate. They have a part where it's all Jack the Ripper.
Oh, wow.
And you walk out, you go through these like old London street, and they have a completely fiber optic sky, night sky. So it's twinkling stars, cobblestone road. They even have the smell.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like it's completely thorough. And like you said, when you go places and you're not scared, you appreciate the art.
Exactly.
You appreciate the craft, and you go,
Yeah.
that's what I try to do. If you're going to come out here and not get scared, maybe you'll
Appreciate
look around and go,
the
well,
setting.
that looked
Yeah.
cool.
Which is what, like, not speaking for you, but like when I go to Halloween Horror, it's like I am just strictly, I don't get scared there anymore. I'm strictly looking at set designs and like how the makeup was done.
Yeah.
Even smell will play a big part into a house.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre house last year, they pulled, and it literally smelled like roadkill and garbage. Like if you would walk into that house, it was
right
that smell. Yeah, it was right behind a dump. Like it smelled bad. Like you walked in, like, holy crap, this is gross. But it's cool because it added to the element of the room.
We have done that before. And we had to take it out because we were getting complaints.
Oh, really?
We had a whole
stinky
bathroom, right? So imagine what that smelled like.
Yeah.
And people come in and go, no, I don't like that. I'm like, no, it's part of the
It's part of the thing.
It's supposed to be part of it makes sense why this bath, if there is a gross overflowing toilet, it's not going to smell normal. It's going to smell bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you done anything like that this year, though, with, like, when it comes to like just like weird smells or anything like that?
No, we haven't picked those smell things back up yet.
Okay.
Just mainly because of the complaints. And it
yeah.
does add to the show for people, I think, like us that are aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
But the majority are not
but
like
the
us.
majority aren't like us, and they typically they frown from that, you know. And that's honestly, that's going into the psyche of things.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to do. When you smell poop, you're like, oh, I want to get away from that.
Yeah, exactly.
So the brain goes, that smells bad because you're not supposed to eat that.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a really interesting thing that's like in this industry. It's like if you want to be successful and get that throughput, and you have a job next year, and I have a job next year, we have to people have to enjoy it. And
exactly.
The vast majority aren't like the four of us sitting in this room right now. It's like if you push it too far, it was too offensive, too smelly, too terrible, like too offensive, basically.
Exactly.
And so then you get negative reviews there, and people.
And then you don't get a job next year.
And then I don't get a job next year. But if it's like if we go too soft, then it's like, oh well, that's just, it's not even a fun or scary haunted house. They're not even trying. Like
exactly.
I can't imagine, like, why did the ticket cost that much? They didn't do anything.
It's definitely a knife edge.
So you have to kind of balance it. And every year we look at what worked and what didn't. And like, trust me, Mark spends hours going over our surveys that we send out throughout the season to try to figure out.
I pour over and I cry.
Really, you didn't like that? I like the bathroom that smelled terrible. Like,
So. All right,
and that's how you guys handle like next year's attraction, and like how you fix things and how you like
it guides us. Yeah, we sit there and go, okay, this house did well. So every house gets kind of a ranking.
Yeah.
Right.
We go, okay, this house was the best. This house was the worst, and then we kind of go to the worst house and go, okay, what happened?
Exactly.
So we did that for 2 houses up in Indiana. One that was actually started here called Pandemic. Its second iteration is Pandemic Mutation. So basically a company called Omni Labs was experimenting on humans for the government.
Of course.
And things went wrong, right? Because that's all haunted houses, that's what it is.
That's always
things went wrong.
Something went wrong.
Something went wrong, right? Now there's
wrong.
monsters roaming around. It was an interactive house. So you got pulled and you had to deal with monsters, and you're thrown into cryo chambers, and you're in a triage room. So its first year down here in Florida, it actually did really well. Again, I think it's a cultural
difference. Yeah.
But went up to Indiana, didn't do so well. So we're like, okay, what are we going to do to reapproach this? So we went in and we've revamped the entire thing. We got these large, I'm sure you guys have probably seen them, called actomatronics. You know, big, large head with pistons and sound and stuff like that. So we got a bunch of those. So we revamped with Jon and the owner and myself. We revamped the story. Okay, how do we sell this as a new kind of iteration? And we said, okay, pandemic mutations. They stopped experimenting on humans. They started to experiment on different organic life. And
plants and
spiders. They're just not good at it, is what it is.
No, they're terrible at security and safety protocols.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Yeah,
you really need to keep
they're
up
great
there.
at experimenting. Like, their experiments are actually a runaway success. Like, they're just terrible with security.
Yeah. So I think when we look at those surveys, and a lot of customers will leave negative reviews, wasn't scary.
Did you have fun?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Were you drunk enough? What happened? We sell beer. Beer. You know, we try to kind of decode what they're trying to tell us. Sometimes they're very specific. You know, we had a complaint a few years ago. The guy's only complaint was we did not have $10,000 animatronics.
Oh, okay.
That's why we got a 1-star review.
Jesus Christ.
He even said in the review, I had a lot of fun. The houses were great. The sets were built really well, but they didn't have the expensive animatronics that I wanted to see.
Yeah.
What?
Well, thanks to your review, we're not going to get them.
Yeah. So my first year when I started coming on, I designed. Whatever. It was the wrong word. I put together a list of songs to play in the midway. Right. Kind of family friendly. What's hot? What's playing right now? And it played. We played. Miley Cyrus, some Miley Cyrus song.
Yes.
Right? It was a big song. Everybody,
Of
it was like
course.
number one. So I was like, people are going to want to hear this, right? We got a 1-star review because we played Miley Cyrus in our midway.
I am pretty sure the week before that, I told you should stop playing that song.
I'm sure you did. But that doesn't warrant a 1-star review.
No, it doesn't. That is a really weird reason to give a 1-star.
Oh, no.
So my point is like we sit there and we have to comb through stuff like that. But every now and then we get something. Sorry, hold on. We get something of like, this room. This happened.
Of course.
Like, okay. That's a problem with consistency of
Exactly.
show.
Like,
that's a problem that we can fix.
people take reviews and they just they write a review to write a review. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna give you a 1-star because we didn't like a song or we didn't like this.
Somewhere out there, that guy left a 5-star review because they played like Back in Black or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we play in our midway, by the way.
Hell yeah. It's just and then it takes away from people who write good reviews that are like, even if they are bad, they're still concrete in what they're trying to say. Like, oh, in this room this happened and maybe we'll should fix it. And you're like, of course, we'll take that as constructive criticism, we'll work on it and make it better.
Absolutely.
But when you have people who are just like, oh, I didn't like the Miley Cyrus song, that's like, okay, then just keep that opinion to yourself.
Yeah.
Because it really has no merit
a lot
here.
Of people don't like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The parking lot was dirty when I went into the restaurant. 1 star. It's like, what that?
Okay. So we had to talk to Jared. He's not sweeping the parking lot.
You're fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we take them very seriously from the top down. And I know, like, if a customer ever hears this, I mean, we really do. Don't come and just give us a bunch of 1-star reviews so you can have your idea put in.
Yeah.
We also take the 5-star reviews and calculate those in too. Great. That, like John said, that worked. Let's do that more.
Exactly.
Like take that concept and push it further.
Yeah, and that's what we did with the interactive out here in Infected. People liked it. Overall, people liked it. And we're like, okay, let's amp it up. What can we do to cross that, keep pushing that line further and further and further back?
I'm stoked to see it this year.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually we're just going to start beating the hell out of
Exactly.
people. Like, are you scared yet? You scared yet? Like, oh, this is so
The thing is,
terrifying.
you only have to do it to one customer, and then everyone else, the anticipation of it might happen would just be a great experience.
Exactly.
That's the fear
It's
right
just not
there.
gonna
It's
happen
like,
to me.
You just send one person to the hospital. You're good.
Is he okay? Like, let's
Yeah.
Just stage it. Just like
I'll be the dummy.
right there.
No, we're not going to punch anybody. Just so you know.
Yeah. There's no hitting involved. People.
No.
I
There's no
promise.
hitting. If it is, I'm pretty sure it's accidental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll write a review.
probably
I'll be
a
like, I
customer
got
to the
punched and
actor.
it was awesome.
It was amazing. I have a black eye.
no, I think if anyone gets punched, it's usually the actors.
It is. Our actors do get abused pretty bad.
Like one a night at least.
Oh my god.
How do you guys handle that?
We
Or does it just come with the job? Like
it's a little bit of nature of the beast. When I train the actors, I say, make a judgment call. Was it reactionary, or did that person pull back?
and
do
punch?
intentionally,
Yeah, and then if it's an issue, we pull both parties out and talk it out. And honestly, if one side or the other wants to press charges, then we're like, you have
free.
every right to do
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but we do try to calm them down.
Yeah.
Hey,
You try to prevent that from happening at all times.
We do as much as we can. Here's a bumper sticker. Calm down.
Yeah.
exactly.
But actors come out, I got hit, this is bullshit, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, I'm sorry, explain what happened. Well, this guy did this. I was like, that sounds reactionary, I'm just going to say, but you're more than welcome to file a complaint or go home for the night or something like that.
I mean, it happens. Like you said, Patrick said, it comes with the job.
It really does.
It does. I mean,
It does.
if it's unintentional, it's it's not that big. I mean, if it, like you said, if someone actually hits you like on purpose, then it's another
and like
scenario.
I said, we serve beer. So people do go in after their 5th beer, and they think it's funny to push an actor around or something like that. And then we go in and go, okay, get out.
Yeah. Sorry, you have to leave now.
Yeah, we send them on their way, and we usually get a bad review because wasn't scared. It's like, you're right, because we didn't arrest you.
That's scary. Yeah.
exactly. Go ahead, dude.
I can imagine him just sitting in jail, like leaving his review. Great haunted house.
Great. Still have the necklace on. I believe I'm being interacted with. I don't know.
I think this is Blackpool.
This is very
really
real,
large.
though. I had a sign. Fingerprints were taken.
I'm in cell block C. This is sweet.
With the clown dilemma that happened last year, with all the clown signings and stuff like that, how are you guys capitalizing on that?
Late.
No, it's not late. If you saw the Bedlam video that we did and all of our clown graphics that we put out, and we're not only capitalizing on that because people were already thinking about, is it going to happen again? But it just came out.
Oh my god.
So
so good.
if you look at some of our billboards that can be up around, there are a lot of clown billboards now because we do know that was coming. We've known that for months and we've been planning for it. And we actually switched our billboard designs this year to add in at least, I think 40% of them are clowns now.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah.
We also have a hurricane haunt now because that's a hot topic right now. It's basically you're watching your house get blown away and you see it, your insurance coming in going, no, we're not going to cover that. So
you got to pay the deductible.
What's the deductible? $10 million. My insurance policy is only $1 million.
Here's the real life horror.
Yeah, right there it is.
Insurance companies.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys would want to ask us? I know we're a bunch of two weirdos that just came.
How did you find us?
Yeah, that's
well.
Yeah,
okay.
we don't like. We feel like we're not that big, but then we get called by certain people, and we're like, "How did we?" So
it's weird.
I'm gonna have a total story real quick. 2 years ago, not when we first opened, but our second year. Wait, what? How many years have we been open?
This is our third year.
Okay, so year one, Busch Gardens came out and they walked our attractions. They came up to our general manager and like, "Hey, well done, guys. This is awesome."
He did better than us.
Yeah. And then last year we had Universal guys show up. Same response. "Hey, these are amazing. Well done." Stuff.
That's
like
awesome.
That. So when we see stuff like that, we always ask the same question: "How did you hear about us?" Well, what? We don't feel like we warrant the attention, even from. Pat and Mike.
Well, I mean, like we came last year. I think it was last year. I was just like sitting on a couch and I was like, what can we do other than Halloween Horror Nights? Like there has to be more. Yeah. Because like, I'm from Ocala, so like if you go up towards Gainesville, like there's the Newberry haunted corn maze, and there's JC's haunted house. Like there's all kinds of like
Jesus Christ.
No, JC's. It's not Jesus Christ.
Oh.
You would think so.
But it's just a tomb.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in it for 3 days.
That would be hilarious. Zombie Jesus comes in with a
It's more of an escape room, though, because you got to get out of the boulder.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really heavy. There's a clue you have to solve. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
You got to pull a book out of the bookshelf.
Yeah.
One specific
Scooby-Doo.
I think it was just a Google search, and I found I typed in haunted attractions Orlando, Florida, and like you popped up, the Shallow Grave popped up, things that are around here that of course Halloween Horror Nights, Hollow Scream all popped up, and we enjoyed it. And we're like, okay, that's awesome. We looked again next year, and that's around that time when we started the podcast.
Yeah,
and then I started branching us out and was like, all right, let's start doing different things. Let's interview, because typically when it comes to podcasts, they interview like movie directors and like there's only one podcast that I know of in Orlando. They're strictly a Halloween Horror Nights podcast, and I think they're affiliated with them.
Is that the Orlando Informer?
No, it's called Scare Zone.
Yeah,
something like that. They literally, it's just a podcast, and all they do is talk about Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay,
that's all they do. So I was like, I want to do that, but instead of branching to these, huge names in, horror, let's talk to the people that are like us. We're just random people that live in Central Florida that talk about horror. Let's infiltrate the haunted house attraction scene and see what's going on behind them and talk to people that actually do this for a living and bring us the scares that we look forward to every year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I just emailed someone and they responded.
That means John's doing his job. Well done, John.
Exactly.
Found us.
Yeah, exactly. And I just sent an email, very professional, and we just asked the question. It was like, would anyone be down to kind of talk to us for an hour or so about what goes on creating haunted houses or being a scare actor and doing costume makeup and all that stuff?
Yeah.
And they're like, let me see what's going on. And then I've been in talks with Jennifer for months now, and here we are today.
Yeah. Yep. It just worked out that Hurricane Irma came down here and caused some havoc, and now both John and I are here.
Yeah, exactly.
It blew us this way, right?
Yeah, literally.
Which was the reason why we started the podcast was not only just to talk about and bitch about like the upcoming like newest movies and like the hot movies or the Hollywood movies, but it's also talk about the indie stuff.
Yeah,
like movies and like even attractions and stuff like that.
Yeah, the indie stuff is cool because, like you said, you have some wiggle room.
Oh yeah.
Also, just some fresh ideas. We went to they do a lot of haunt tours. You hop on a bus, you're with a bunch of other haunt people, and you go around a certain area or whatever. And they had this one called Camp Blood or something like that. Can't remember what it was called, but it was the entire idea was built around a campground, like when you went as a kid to a campground, the little cabins and stuff like that, and that was the whole thing. I thought it was so cool and so unique. I mean, it wasn't well done. It looked like that thing was burn up in any moment, but I enjoy that so much. I totally understand, like the big guys, the mass produced guys. Yeah, of course they have the money to bring in all the art direction and crew and buy the proper stuff and all that. But
there's something to come with like creativity when you have a limit like
Yes.
supply of stuff.
That's a perfect way. That's a perfect way of putting it. There's
Yeah.
so many times when we go out to fix something, and we're like, "Hey, we really need this.
How are we going to
Don't
do this?
have that,
And don't have the money to
like,
do
we
that.
run into that also when we shoot all the trailers and the videos that we
Oh,
do for
God.
each of the attractions. It's like he and I sit down and we're starting to write the scripts for them and like figuring out how we're actually going to do it. And there's multiple times where it's like I'll say something and he'll stop me and be like, "How are we going to do that?" Before you get
If we
too
got an
excited.
airplane to crash, how would we do this?
Like we had the Bedlam trailer this year that actually was scripted to have two cars crash into each other. And we ran into such an issue with getting two cars that the car eventually just hit trash cans. Like so,
Yeah,
we
it was my car. It was like the night before. It was like we can't seem to get two cars here in time. So
we actually
took
tried
my
that
car.
day up until like we actually started
Oh, that's
shooting.
right, yeah.
We were trying to find two cars that we could wreck into each other, and every person we were about to buy one from that like for $500 was like, "Yeah, I just sold it like an hour ago." It's like
Of
we
course.
told you we were
Always.
there in two. Like,
Yeah.
We were literally coming with cash. Like we were going to do this.
Yeah. So you're very right. There's a lot of creativity in that limited zone. And we enjoy it. It's actually kind of a fun, it's a puzzle. It's an escape
Exactly.
room from budgets.
Yeah, exactly. And it again, it just pushes you to do what you can do with what you got, and then next year you always know like what you're capable of doing now.
Yeah, like our hayride when it first opened was completely what's called actor enabled.
Right.
Meaning all the animatronics that fired had to be an actor going click, and a little button, click.
Oh, wow.
You know, how many times a night, click, click. And so either timing was on or timing was off, or didn't work or something like that. So we were like, okay, we don't like that. So last year, God, what day is it?
it's Wednesday.
Okay,
Wednesday.
yeah. Ugh.
Why'd you need to know the day to think about last year?
I don't know.
Last
But
year,
it
wait,
helps.
what day
Don't
was
have
it?
a
What
lot
day?
of
It's
sleep.
Wednesday. Okay, 2015.
Yeah.
then.
I went through it and automated everything. So now the tractor triggers
Oh,
all
wow.
the animatronics and have cue lights for the tractor driver and cue lights for the actors and stuff like that. And then those systems were kind of hastily put together because we had a limit.
Right.
But now I understood the system. So now I
Of
went
course.
back and rebuilt them all so they're more efficient. We get better scares out of them, stuff like that. So that's actually, I love that idea. That's a great way of thinking of that.
Yeah, like I take the concept of doing haunted houses kind of like how you do film. It's like when you do an indie film, you have a limited like budget and you have to make it more effective, like do as effective as you can.
Right.
As in like in comparison of like a Hollywood movie that has a 70 million budget,
Yeah.
which they could just do whatever, they could do anything.
Exactly. So working on both independent films, I'm going to do air quotes again. Independent films, meaning that it was like the guy's wife who funded it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they had like a budget of like $1,500, which is
Bologna sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've done everything from roll up burritos for lunch for I was the catering or the food guys to working on it was a big disappointment in the box office, but I worked on a movie called Black Hat, and that had an $80 million budget. Don't try to think about it because it's a crap movie. I'm sorry.
Black
I'm just
Cat.
trying to think
No,
if I've
Black
seen it.
Hat.
Black Hat.
Black Hat has Thor in it. I can't think of his name. Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, I think I remember seeing. I didn't see the movie.
Don't.
But
Yeah,
Don't do it.
I watched a movie Mojo top 10 list, top 10 like 2014 box office busts or something like that.
Right.
It
And
was
it was
on
like
there.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, Black Hat.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was like, oh, you gotta be shitting me. The only big Hollywood movie I've ever worked on.
Hey, but
and it's
you
a
were number
piece-
one.
It's a
You
I was
were
number
number
one.
one.
Film like I was just part of the camera crew. I was like the low guy on the camera crew. And even what I saw, I was like, this movie's gonna be shit. This movie's crap. So when it got cut together, I mean, the last like 3 minutes, like, yeah, it's getting started. Oh, it ended. Well, all right.
All right.
Little side story. Sorry, I have a bunch of side stories.
fine.
He has nothing but side stories.
It's
actually.
true. We're filming at this Korean restaurant, and they had this like weird sub office, like basically where I guess the manager would sit. And I was getting everything ready for the camera department to come down there, and I took my hoodie off because it got warm, and I put it off to the side and stuff like that. And then we started filming, and I realized Chris Hemsworth had to actually pick up my hoodie and throw it out of the way to type on a keyboard, and that's in the film. And I was
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
God.
my hoodie's famous.
Yes.
It's framed at home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's-
wish. I think it's actually on
Has been washed
a mannequin
since.
inside of Zombieland.
Walk by and like, you smell Chris?
Oh God. Well, I think don't know. Is there anything else?
I mean, I don't know how much time you got. I can go on for days.
You're keeping us out of the sun, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 91
the sun
degrees
is
out there.
awful. Yeah,
There's mosquitoes.
Yeah,
I don't know how you guys live here.
it's awful.
We barely.
Barely. Come up to
We
Indiana.
start-
It's much cooler. Come up like in October. See the facility up there. It's beautiful. It's nice and cool.
You could
Yeah.
imagine. I actually have a friend who lives in Indianapolis, so maybe should make
Yeah.
a road trip, haunted house road. It'd be like the movie The House is October Built.
Yeah.
You guys ever seen that?
Yeah, I know about it. I know
It's
the
a good
concept.
movie. I enjoyed it. The second one comes out in 2 days.
And what is that one called?
The House is October Built 2.
I kind of appreciate when they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they do the two, because then you, like the Harry Potter series, I'm always like, okay, I know the first one.
But what's the next
What's
one?
the
What's the next? Is a
second
Goblet
one
of
called?
Fire.
Oh, with the subtitles, yeah.
You're just like,
I like that John Wick did it.
yeah,
No,
John Wick
John
two.
Wick. John Wick Chapter 2.
Yeah.
And guess what? John Wick Chapter 3 just got announced.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I'm excited
2019
about
or 18.
I am too. I really enjoyed that. That movie was really good.
Those movies are like, if you really sit down and nitpick them, they're awful.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so many plot holes. There's so many, like,
Yeah.
why didn't they just shoot him with a sniper rifle from really far away? Like, why do they keep trying to go after him with a handgun? Like, he clearly does this well. So,
Yeah.
It's like he's the Ringer, like the
Yeah.
movie The Ringer. He's Johnny Knoxville.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bunch
God.
of
But I mean, like think about that in the same context of like coming to a haunted house. Though it's like
Yeah.
you still have to suspend belief and just go in and have fun. Like
Exactly.
if you're gonna go to these things and nitpick every little thing, you're probably gonna walk out with a negative experience.
Yeah,
Like,
I always tell the actors, if you can't, like for you, for instance, and I'm pointing to Mike, by the way.
It's okay.
I'm always afraid, like people are like, who the hell is he pointing to?
I should narrate, Mark.
Yeah, I'm pointing to myself. You're not scared, right? But,
Yeah.
So what I tell them to do, if you can't scare them, make them laugh.
Yep.
Right? Because we're not ultimately.
Which I will laugh.
Ultimately, people they pay to be scared. But if they had a good time,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
that's
They're
just
gonna come
That's
back.
just as valuable. They're
Yeah.
gonna come back. So I don't know where I was going with that because I thought today was 2015. So tells you where my mind's at.
But at least you know it's Wednesday now.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday,
It's
2015, July. Are we in July?
19th.
Okay, got it.
Wait,
You're good.
yeah.
So people can listen to this podcast going, I'm sorry, wait.
Wait, I need to check my calendar. What the fuck is going on?
Archived one. What the hell happened here?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But no, I mean, it's been awesome talking to you guys, getting
Yeah.
to get a nice insight into your world and how you guys started and make it happen. We walked through the Blackpool Prison. It was amazing.
It was, yeah, I liked it. a
Even
lot.
with the lights on, it's still scary. And it
Well,
looks
you
like
were
it's-
here last year, you said?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you saw Blackpool Prison in operation last
Yep.
year?
Yeah.
We made some slight improvements, so
Yep.
I recommend
Yeah.
coming out and changing.
Oh, we definitely. I think we're gonna come. I think I'm off like a Sunday night. I think we're gonna come out here. I think I'm off Sunday, so we're gonna. He
Sunday's
gets
a
off
good
early.
night to come out. Actually,
Yeah, Sundays are a very good night.
Yeah. No one works, so we can actually all come out and get scared and have some fun.
Drink a beer.
And yeah, exactly. And if for you out there who are listening to us, if you live in Tampa or Orlando, wherever you listen,
actually, if you live anywhere,
Anywhere,
if you're
just
in the United States,
hop
if you're
on-
alive, come on over.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Come to Scream. They have two. It's not called Scream-A-Geddon in Minneapolis. It's called
Indie Scream Park.
Indie Scream Park. So if you live near there, go there. If you're in our area of the town, come to Scream-A-Geddon and maybe scream
Yeah.
or not. It's up
or
to
at
you.
least have fun.
Or
Or
laugh.
have fun.
Yeah.
Or laugh. Or shoot a zombie with a paintball gun. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
You
always
get
a lot of
places you
fun.
get to do that.
You do get to do that.
Yeah.
Or ride a haunted hayride.
You can make a day of it. Go to tree hoppers,
There you go.
Yeah. There you
zip
go.
line all day, go to lunch, or maybe like an early dinner, and
Yeah.
then come to Scream-A-Geddon.
Denny's, the one restaurant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the closest
we are
restaurant.
literally in the middle of nowhere right now. So
Well, that's actually when we first opened. I do remember seeing a lot of reviews and a lot of comments from people that actually sets the tone.
Yeah.
it
It does.
does. We were driving down here doing Instagram story on our Instagram page. We're just like, this is where Texas Chainsaw Massacre lives. Like, this is where you die.
This is where people really die.
You start getting further and further out, and you start seeing the bars drop on your
Yep.
phone. You're like, ah, shit. What the
This is
hell?
where it starts.
This is where it starts.
Yeah, you should have seen this place in 2015. April of 2015, none of this existed.
Oh wow,
And we were open by September.
Oh, God.
that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate you guys from taking the time out of your
No
I know chaotic schedule. I mean, you guys are 2 days from opening. That's crunch hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was great. As usual, guys. I am Mike,
I'm Pat.
I'm
Yeah.
John.
John, and
Oh, it's Wednesday.
it's Wednesday.
you go.
That's
Yeah.
Mark. As usual, guys, follow us on Instagram at HorrorJunkiesFL, on Twitter, the same handle, and go over to ScreamAgeddon.com.
Screamgeddon.com or IndieScreamPark.com.
IndieScreamPark.com. Pick up your tickets, man. Check out the haunts they got going on. It's starting soon, so prepare to get scared.
And we'll let you know when we go so you guys can come hang out with us.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Come
that'd
hang
be
out
great.
with us. We'll bring a whole party of people. Get a lot of friends.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.